And just like that, has the government changed vertical video forever with this new potential ban on TikTok? Also, does this ban mean that vertical video is ultimately going to die overall? And then, of course, we have to talk about who stands to gain the most from this potential ban on TikTok. We're going to discuss all of this and more in today's episode of Uncensored. What is good, creative fam? Brandon Washington here, and welcome back to another episode of Uncensored. Y'all saw the title. Y'all saw the thumbnail. Y'all probably also heard the news this week. We got a ton to talk about because regardless to whether you like TikTok or you hate TikTok or how you feel about the platform as a whole, I think as a videographer, it is impossible to believe that TikTok has not impacted your video creation world in some way. But I'm not just here to talk about it by myself. I also have my amazing guest host or co-host, Jarrell, in the building.
The guest host is in the building.
The guest host, the co-host, he's here every single week. Dude, I feel like we have so much to go over this week, but we also added a few new things coming out today. So first, not only are we going to be talking about this topic, but we also have a special first time ever question of the day, which is something I'm really interested to start bringing to the live streams more and more. I know more people have questions, and so we're going to tell you guys how you can submit your questions for future episodes, but we're really excited about our question of the day, and we're going to have an entire segment later on today where you guys can ask me questions because that is what I want this show to be about. I want it to be a little bit of give and take, you know. I can provide some knowledge and some of my input, but then you guys can also add questions. So this means at any point, if you disagree with something I have to say about this show, this is the Uncensored Show. So it's okay for you to disagree and to put your thoughts down in the comment section.
And matter of fact, we just dropped a poll and we want to know from you guys your answer to this poll. So take some time to do it. But do you actively, creatively make TikTok style content? And because we want to know if this ban is going to affect you or it's going to affect you creatively. Right now, I see about 73% of people are not making TikTok style content.
That's actually really shocking to me because I feel like I know personally, even though like I do a lot of stuff for my social media platforms and stuff, which basically almost forces you to make vertical style content, right? I also see that on the client side of things, a lot of times my clients, even if there's like a singular really good video that they want made, they still want a few Instagram reels, TikToks, whatever you want to call it, in order to help promote even the full video or to promote. And like we see this even with major Hollywood studios, like they're making movies, they're making TV shows. I can't tell you how many vertical ads I've seen for Avatar, The Last Airbender, like for me to go watch the show on Netflix, which is ultimately going to be a 16:9 on my TV, but I'm still seeing even the big studios. So it's actually really surprising to me that more people aren't saying that they're using or creating a lot of TikTok style videos.
You know, something that's interesting, I stopped posting on TikTok a while ago because one of the things that I came across is I would take maybe like YouTube shorts or maybe Instagram reels, stuff that was dedicated to those platforms and just tried posting them on TikTok.
Yeah.
And they didn't do so hot.
Yeah. It's like almost like TikTok has its own little ecosystem.
Absolutely. And so you could probably bust out of the trends and do something specific, but I think people on that platform, they can smell it. If you take a podcast and you just clip it up and you put it on TikTok, they're like, nah, we want that iPhone vertical.
That's actually exactly what I feel like they want. I wonder though, when it comes to this potential, because in case some of you guys aren't aware, the news sort of broke this week that there is a strong possibility, and I say strong lightly, honestly, but there's a decent possibility that TikTok as a brand, as an app, as a company could potentially be banned here in the United States. And so, Jarrell, you actually have the actual news. So I'll let you break down the news for anyone who doesn't know, so we can legitimately know what actually happened, and then we can sort of give our thoughts on the ban.
Yeah, it actually kind of surprised me because TikTok has 170 million users in the US, which is crazy. But on Wednesday, the House passed a bill, and it was pretty bipartisan. Like, it was 352. So, I mean, you had a lot of Democrats, a lot of Republicans, to 65 that were in favor of banning TikTok. So now it's going to go to the Senate, which it kind of feels like, at least the news is kind of reporting that it's a little iffy.
Yeah. Now, to be clear, this bill was not just to ban TikTok, right? Like, it's a bill that has other stuff that's always looped into it. So, like, I wonder, with a bill like this, and when you start passing things on, you send it off to the Senate, like, what happens? Like, the Senate has to vote on this too, and they would have to unanimously agree, correct?
What is it for a law? No, is it? Oh gosh, this takes me back to those. I need a bill. It takes me back to
the Schoolhouse Rock days.
Schoolhouse Rock. That's it.
Yeah.
2/3. I don't know. Dude,
yeah.
Hey, if you're on this live stream, you probably know, and you're going to correct us.
Yeah, absolutely. No, definitely. If you know, let us know. But then it has to go through the Senate.
Yeah, definitely over a majority.
Right. So it has to be a majority in the Senate. Yeah. And then it also has to then go to the president, who has to sign in the middle of an election year.
And we're not a political show.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's in like literally an election year. Like, who wants to hold that
decision?
That sack of whatever that is.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to pick that up.
Yeah. And so for me, when I start thinking about, like, how all this stuff could shake out, I don't really know from a political side of things who cares about what, because I'm not a super political person and it's not a political channel. But what I do start thinking about is all the videographers who have been impacted, because I can't even pretend to believe that, like, the rise of content that was just uploaded to TikTok hasn't increased the number of people who either desire to create videos for themselves, or the people who are out there looking for videographers to create content for them, for their social media platforms. Because the one thing that TikTok has shown, and it's it's adamantly true across Instagram now, and even YouTube now with YouTube Shorts, is that there is something about that vertical form of video that just allows you to get way more engagement. It allows you to get way more reach. And from a business side of things, I feel like a lot of companies and creators have really jumped on that bandwagon and said, this is how I'm going to get exponential reach beyond what I was able to get before.
You probably know this better than me, but I think I heard this somewhere. Did TikTok kind of force everybody to go vertical because of how, like, popular it became? The YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Instagram, because really vertical video is not the first, but one of the few universal formats on all of the major platforms. And I heard, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it was because literally when TikTok came out, everybody flooded and not left, but just started making so much more content.
Yeah, I think it was kind of like a perfect storm of events. We had 2020, which was like the year of the pandemic and whatnot. So a lot of people were at home, and they were trying to consume content, and TikTok just kind of became this thing that not only did people have plenty of time to consume it, but also people had plenty of time to create for it. And so it was like this perfect little circular motion of, oh, it's something new and it's a new format. People were getting excited about it. They were creating content for it. People who had never maybe created content before and was able to build an audience before found a platform that allowed them to do it. That made other people want to do it as well. And so it became this perfect little cyclone of what ultimately became TikTok. And what I think scared Instagram and even YouTube to a certain extent was the idea that people really like gravitated to that platform in such a mass wave that, like, if any like at the end of the day, we got to remember Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok all they are doing is selling your attention, right? Like that's what they're doing to all of us. Like they build a platform that hopefully garners a ton of attention and then they sell that to advertisers. Well, when Instagram sees their engagement drop and when YouTube sees their engagement drop and all signs are pointing to, hey, this TikTok thing is happening because they have vertical video, I think it basically forced them to feel like, okay, we got to figure out how to get into this game. And so Meta, which has done this a million times over, whether that was with Snapchat stories or whatever.
They may not be the first.
They may not be the first, but they're going to do a dang good job at copying it, right? And so they rolled out Reels, and then YouTube did something which I thought was really interesting, which kind of stayed in their DNA. They still tried to go vertical, right? Which was great because, again, to the point that you made, it made it kind of like similarities across all the different platforms. But what YouTube did that I thought was really interesting was that they were like, we're also going to be the company that figures out monetization the best. And now that said, YouTube Shorts monetization is still not great, but at least they seem, I'll say that much, they seem to be trying to figure it out. But
what have you heard on that? Like I've heard like 20 million views is like $1,000.
The view. So I think it really does come down to most people are used to seeing a certain number of views on a long form video and associating that with a certain value. But I think the value of vertical video is actually way lower. Because the truth is, it's like, if you've doom scrolled ever, which I'm pretty sure everybody who's ever like gotten a cell phone at this point has probably found themselves doom scrolling, whether they like to admit it or not.
There's crack in that algorithm.
Bro, you're swiping and swiping and swiping. But the truth is I guarantee you after about an hour of swiping through whatever platform you choose, after an hour of doing that, if you rest for an hour and then I had to quiz you about what you consumed in that last hour, you'd probably fail that test. And that is because when it comes to short form content, two things are happening kind of simultaneously. And this has just been my approach. This is not scientific. This is just Brandon speaking here. But I think two things are happening. One, you're getting so much dopamine release that when you're getting that much dopamine, no one video in particular reigns supreme over the others. And so that makes it really hard. But then the second one is that you are not choosing to consume anything. The algorithm is giving you everything. And so when you choose to consume something, the chances of you remembering it are much higher. Like when you choose to consume a book, you're going to remember what that book had. Or if you choose to consume a video, because you made that choice, your mind says, okay, I made a choice. I need to make this choice worth it. But when you're just swiping, you're not making any choices. So therefore, the value of short form content to me is just way lower, which also then means that the value to brands and to sponsorships and to running ads has seemed to be much lower. So when you see these 22 million views on shorts and you made maybe $1,000, you're like, how is that possible? The value is just not the same. And this is why, in my opinion, I still think that long form YouTube content is still going to reign supreme as far as like value and building an audience and making genuine connections with people. But vertical video, because of what TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts did as a creator, it made it really easy because you could make one piece of content for the first time ever, make one piece of content and literally post it across all the platforms. And as far as I'm concerned, that's like going to the casino and you're able to take one quarter and put it into 3 different slot machines simultaneously, pull them all and just hope for the best. And we had never seen anything like that happen, at least in the creative space so far.
Yeah, that's what I do. I will take a podcast and I will literally clip it up. And you actually have a video on this. So if you haven't seen it on Brandon's channel, go watch the video after the live stream. But I will take a podcast. I will clip it into a 30-second, 60-second video. And then one thing that I love on YouTube is you can put ad-related video and you can literally link that to the long form content. And I will oftentimes get way more views on the podcast that I post. And so, yeah, that like the short form content, and you've seen Joe Rogan, like he doesn't even probably clip his stuff.
Yeah.
But other people clip it. But if that short is really good, people are going to go look for the long form.
That is true, and I have found that to be the case. It's a weird dynamic because I think it differs between what type of content you're making. Like if you make podcast style content, or if you make educational style content, or you make entertainment style content. I believe that like all these different forms of media at this point almost deserve their own different strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And that can make it very challenging because a lot of people, and even myself included, will speak in absolutes like, oh, this is how you should attack, short forms, or this is how you should attack long form content. But the truth is that every different type of content, depending on what genre it's in, but also whether it's educational, entertainment, or, like literally like how the audience engages with you, like the storytelling, it all slightly changes. Like as a filmmaker and as a videographer, like I'm used to certain rules, even through the cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
With YouTube, 16:9, you can use most filmmaking techniques like the rule of thirds, things like that. But when you get to vertical, the rule of thirds don't work anymore. There's more of like everything needs to be center framed, and you can't frame too high because there's going to be IO there, and you don't want to be framed too far to the right because there's going to be more IO there, and you can't be low because the description is going to be there. So it's like you really get this really small box that you can work in.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes as a creator, limitations can be, revolutionary because you get a chance to try something new. It kind of forces you to think outside of the box and try to figure out how do you make this new restriction work. But if it comes at the detriment of creating what you really want, that's where I think people start to have a lot of problems and why so many filmmakers are struggling with the idea of vertical. I even saw this hat that was like, make videos horizontal again, which is hilarious to think about, especially now with, TikTok and the ban and everything else. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. Oh gosh. Okay. So we're going to go to the comment section here. We're going to pull up a real comment, but we'll pull up Cam's deal. I appreciate it. You know what's funny, Cam, that you mentioned about this outfit? I wear this flannel on almost every single outfit. Maybe he likes the pants today.
Manicures.
Maybe he likes the pants today. I do need to get my nails done, so maybe I'll take this $10 and go take my wife, and that'll pay for the tip to get me and my wife's manicure done. So I love it. But I'd love to know what people are saying in the comments. So let's go to the comments. Let's see what other people are saying, because I think this is a really hot button topic that we could definitely talk about. And then this will be a great question for the chat. If TikTok gets banned, and so that influence of vertical video kind of goes away, right? Will we see a decrease in value of vertical video as a whole? Because I'll actually tell you a secret that has to do with my Instagram account. Now, I post plenty of Instagram reels. I don't really do TikTok. I don't have TikTok on my phone. It's not really the app of my choice. But one thing that I have actually found on Instagram for me that has worked better than reels has actually been horizontal swipe through carousels. And so if you do follow me on Instagram, you may have seen that like we've had quite a few, carousels that have come out because I personally struggle with trying to make everything fit into that 60-second bubble that is an Instagram reel. And so the carousels allow us to go a little bit deeper and you can swipe. And the videos actually could be much longer because you have 60-second per swipe, right? And that has actually done really well. We actually had a post go live with Justin Porter. And that video that carousel swipe has dang near gone viral on Instagram. And I just wonder if TikTok is gone, will that change the value of vertical form video?
You know what? It's so hard because I feel like shorts, TikToks, they're so powerful. I want you to tell me, and this is how, like, I'm pretty certain or sure. So chat, you can say, Brandon, you can also answer. How many TV shows or movies have you watched because the algorithm fed you shorts? So I'll tell you, like for me, I started watching Suits and Young Sheldon because, oh my goodness, I was starting to get so many Suits shorts. I felt like I almost knew the show before I started watching it. And then also Young Sheldon, I'm like, man, these shorts are so good. I'm going to go watch it. But have you watched a movie and or a TV show because you saw so many shorts?
I will say, so I had already planned to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. But because so many shorts started coming out and so many jokes started coming out about the show, I got a little nervous about it getting ruined for me. And so it forced me to go watch it even sooner. because I was like, I don't want it to be spoiled, because I realized that our culture was so quick to like grab something that was trendy and throw it in like a vertical form video.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And whether it was like stuff getting memed to death or even like direct content from Netflix as a studio, like there was so much content being thrown at me. So yeah, absolutely. I definitely 100% would say that like shows and movies have definitely drawn me. Like there was a movie the other day, there was like a fight scene and I was like, yo, what is this? And then I went and looked it up and it was a movie called Blood and Bones. And it's like this like really obscure martial arts movie that I would have never found deep inside of the, I believe it was on Amazon Prime algorithm.
Was it good?
Oh, so good. So
Blood
good.
and Bones.
Yes, such a good. If you like just like turn your brain off martial arts movies, bro, such a good movie. But yeah, it was amazing. Fight scenes were awesome, and like because I saw that in a short, it was like, yeah, I gotta go watch this.
Yeah, I think for me, if I'm trying to be a filmmaker and create shorts, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like that, like I'm not gonna make a 60-second short film. Like, I don't know. Like that doesn't make sense. But if you're trying to market your short film, if you're trying to market your podcast, if you're trying to market your business, like I think that you just might be like, and obviously think about it however you want to, but you just might be thinking about it the wrong way.
Yeah, there is something to the amount of reach that vertical video, and that's not even necessarily due to, I don't believe that actually has to do with it being a vertical video, in my honest opinion. I think it's just that is what the platforms have chosen to push. And I think most creators, and this is just maybe my opinion, but if photos got as much push as reels, people would post way more photos. And if carousels, because this is my honest opinion, I think carousels actually are getting way more push now. Carousels started getting way more push than reels, then I think we would see way more carousels being created. I think what we are doing, we are creatures of habit. We are creatures that are looking for success. And so we go after whatever feels like it's getting the most push and it's getting the most opportunity. And so as creators, we are reaching out for that attention, for that reach, for that, promotion. And currently that's been vertical video. And that's why I'm so interested to see that if TikTok does inevitably gets banned, will we see vertical video lose that push? And then what will it go towards?
So this might be a hot take. I feel like no, because the reality is we don't read anymore. We don't we don't read. Like we don't pick up magazines. We don't, I don't know about you, but when you're going to go, if you watch the news, you're not reading the article. You're looking for the video on top that you're going to play and you're going to listen to it, sort of deal. So I think as a society, like we don't value reading. And so I think video is always going to be king because it's just easy.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I agree with you. I think that if TikTok gets banned, I think kind of a little bit with our conversation a little bit before, I just kind of think that who's going to stand in the gap? Is it going to be Meta? Is it going to be who's outside of Meta? Is it going to be YouTube?
Yeah.
Like whose platform is going to stand to benefit the most if TikTok gets banned?
I think that answer is probably Meta, only because Instagram Reels has the DM aspect of it, which I think is one of the other things that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to TikTok. Is part of vertical video, like part of that ecosystem, is sharing. And YouTube currently doesn't have an easy way for you to share. So if you see a funny reel, it's one thing to experience it yourself, but it's another thing when you think, oh, so-and-so is going to love this. I can't wait to share this with so-and-so, so-and-so. Like I have entire group chats with friends where all it is us sending each other reels back and forth. And like there are even memes about that. And so with TikTok out of the way, if YouTube doesn't figure out a way to help make YouTube more social and the sharing aspect of shorts, I don't think they'll ever see a massive success in that short form vertical, because I think that Instagram has DMs so well integrated and they have the technology with WhatsApp right behind them that like that avenue is never going away. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And so that, in my opinion, but I'd love to go back to the chat and just ask them and see like what their thoughts are on this, because every person has their own option on this, has their own decision.
So one of the things that Cam just said, my commercial work went from 2 to 5 minute filmic horizontal finals to now 10 to 15 second vertical deliverables. It's heartbreaking. Crazy to see brands throwing big budgets to vertical finals.
I don't actually think that's crazy. And the reason why is because, and this is tough as filmmakers, as creators, but like I learned this lesson and I've said this lesson before, but like the truth is that they have never been paying for horizontal videos. They have been paying to solve a problem. And that problem has been educating our audience about who we are and whatever we want to tell them. And then they choose whatever format allows them to get the most bang for their buck.
They only care about popularity. What's ever popping right now.
It's whatever is going to get them the most reach for the problem that they're trying to solve. And 9 times out of 10, commercial clients are trying to solve the problem of, we got a widget to sell and we need people to buy it. And so whether that has been horizontal ads that ran in between YouTube videos as content or as ads, or whether that was commercials that were 30-second spots that played on your TV, now it's vertical videos. They never actually cared about our filmmaking. They never cared about what we valued as art. What they cared about, unfortunately, has always just been, how do I sell more widgets? And this is, to me, why I push so many creators like Cam, like others, to find their own creative outlet. Because if your only creative outlet is coming through the clients that you're working with, you're always going to be at the liberty of whatever they find valuable. And so having your own creative outlet, whether that is video, it could not be video, it could be photography, it could be, like, for example, our editor, Travis, he loves building these like crazy homes for his snakes, and they are ridiculously well put together. But that is a creative outlet for him, putting that together. Like, he has, like, the one he just made has like a land area and like water for like the fish. I don't know anything about this world, but that's a creative outlet for him. Yet he also does video for us and with our clients as well. But that's not where he gets his creative fills. It's making content for himself. And so I personally just believe that, like, that is the way as a creator, that you have to maintain your own little creative outlet, because unfortunately the clients are only here for, whatever's going to help them sell more widgets. So that's just sort of my opinion.
Yeah, I feel you though, Cam Mackey.
Yeah, no, I 100% feel
it sucks.
You. It's tough,
but
it's very tough.
If they're not going to give you the type of projects that you want, go and make the projects that you want.
Absolutely, I love that. Yeah. We're gonna clip that. We're gonna clip that.
It's your friend. Who's your friend? Orbit.
Oh, Josh Yo.
Yeah. What does he say?
Make art now.
Make art now.
Yeah. Make your thing.
Yeah.
Do your own deal. Let's go ahead and
he just put this up. He says if they take away TikTok, there will just be a clone app to pop up in the next 24 hours.
I don't agree with that.
I think there will be clone apps, but do I think they'll be popular?
No.
I don't know if they'll be popular.
I don't think so. And the reason being, for me at least, has just been like, they might be like, you could pop up a clone app tomorrow, or you could pop one up right now. You're not going to be able to get creators over to it until you can guarantee them reach. That's the only reason why most creators are on TikTok, is because they think they can get reach unlike any other platform. That's why I said Instagram already has such a head start. They're going to benefit the most. But at the end of the day, like, it's all about reach and getting your art consumed. And like back in the day, if you were an artist, like a painter, you wanted to have your own gallery. You were looking for someone to put your art in a gallery. TikTok is just a gallery.
Yeah.
And it's just much easier for us to put our art there. And if that gallery shuts down, if another gallery opens up, but it has no customers coming there to consume the art, you're going to go to the next gallery that already has a line out of the door of people there to consume the art. But again, that's just my opinion. I'd love to know what you guys' thoughts are in the chat. But while we kind of transition, I wanted to start a new segment here on the live stream, which was a question of the day. Now, for the question of the day, I wanted to make this a video question, because there are so many of you guys out there who consume this content, and I love seeing you guys' faces. We recently just had the Red event not too long ago, and that was an amazing experience. And so getting a chance to like actually network with you guys and seeing you guys face to face has been such a huge blessing on my life. And it just allowed me to feel way more connected with you guys. And so in order to do that, I want to start doing video submissions. So over on my Instagram, I post about once a week requesting questions. And I normally answer a lot of those questions on Instagram, but I decided I wanted to take a video one specifically for this here live stream. So we requested a video and we're going to go ahead and answer that. And next week, you guys will be able to submit your questions to possibly be answered here on the live stream.
So here's the first CFA question.
Yo, what's going on, Brandon? The question that I have is more so for beginning filmmakers or creators that are looking to build connections. Do you have any tips for people that are just getting their feet wet in the game whenever it comes to building connections or even working with other creators in their area?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a great question. And obviously, I'm a little biased because of our Red event that we just had. But if you can go to events, I think that is one awesome way that you can connect with other creators. But I know that doesn't help everybody because that puts a lot of the pressure on the universe, the rest of the world. Like, where these events are, where are they? Like if you're in LA, there's events like every other weekend, but if you're like in a smaller city or you're in a city like Houston where film isn't the big norm, I wanted to make sure that we had like some actual tangible advice. And so one of the big ones that I have, and this has actually helped me out, especially when I'm traveling to other cities, if I'm looking for people to collaborate with or work with or even hire for jobs, and that is I actually go to Instagram and I go into the search and I search up the hashtag insert city videographers. And so like if I'm going to Dallas, I go to Instagram and I type in Dallas videographers or Dallas filmmakers or Dallas content creators. And then I scroll and that allows me to find a ton of creators in that city. And the other thing I'll tell you is that if you are someone who's just getting started and you're trying to find someone to work with, maybe there is a big creator in your city and you want to work with them, but like, you know, they're big time. They're doing their thing. You're not really sure what you have to offer them. I can tell you one thing that most creators almost unanimously all will value is BTS. And so if you can reach out to a creator via social media and offer the ability to shoot BTS video or photos for them for free. Now that's the big key. You gotta be willing to go on set and shoot for them for free and just hand them over that footage. That is an awesome way to start that relationship. I mean, Marcus, who's a really good friend of mine, he came in to Houston and I know immediately he just started offering the ability to shoot BTS for people. And that allowed him to make a ton of connections in the city, work with a lot of really awesome people here. And he even came out and shot BTS for me. Now he's a really great friend. I'll shoot BTS for him. He'll shoot BTS for me because as creators, we know the value of that and being able to help each other out is a big thing. So that's one piece of advice that I would give if you're new to a city and you're trying to connect with other creators. Find them on social using certain hashtags and then offer your service to shoot BTS for them. You'll be surprised how many of them will actually take you up on it.
That's really good advice.
Yeah. Do you have any?
Yeah. For me, one of the things that I did is I DM'd you and that was great. But then also, I also found that I started to build community through finding other people with the like size channels and just be like fans of their content, like watch their videos, comment on them, you know, show up consistently. And what I found is you never know, especially if people are making good stuff, encouraging them and just letting them know what you liked about their deal. You will strike up conversations. You know, people have sent me their phone numbers and we'll talk and we'll collaborate, especially if they're like in similar life places. Yeah. And so this is the crazy part. Everybody has to start somewhere. And while when you get to 150 or 500,000 or a million, you might be more established or you might even be better. There are still awesome filmmakers that might have small channel sizes just because they don't know social media or maybe they just started. So you can still learn from someone that has like 100 subs.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even think that numbers really matter because, like you said, being a fan of somebody and just being able to have a solid conversation with them, when we met, we actually like, I know we DM'd a little bit, but like we met in person accidentally.
Yeah.
At a bagel shop of all places. And at first, when we approached each other, we started talking a little bit, and you let me know that you were, you had consumed my content. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, whatever. Right. Like, I was like, oh, this is, cool interaction. I'm going to shake his hand. I'm going to leave. And then you actually complimented my Red project that I had just come out, I think around that same time. I think it was the Red Raptor one. And because you were a fan and you spoke specifically about my work, especially something that I was really proud of, for me, that meant a whole lot. And it changed the whole way the interaction went. And then, we went and got a coffee.
Yeah.
Years go, like a year plus has gone by now, and like we're working together and we're, good friends. And for me, it is, I think there's a certain level of like, when you reach out to somebody to kind of want to connect with them, sure, you can reach out just on some like, oh, I'm just trying to level myself up kind of thing. But that doesn't work, and people can smell that really, really quickly.
And they probably get dozens, if not hundreds of those sort of requests all the time.
All the time. But it's so important to be an actual fan of the people that you want to work with. Because like for me, like, Cam is a friend, but I'm also a fan of his work. Like the stuff that he does with his Bronco, the way he shoots, like his artistic style, like Cam Mackey.
Nice Z8 video.
Amazing. Yeah, nice to see on the Nikon drone. Yeah. But it's so important, I think, as creators, that when you start thinking about working with other creators, that it's even more important, aside from their following count and aside from like you just trying to get better at your craft, that you actually are a fan of what they are making. Because if you're not a fan of what they're making, and you're not a fan of like who they are through their content, you're probably not going to benefit as much working together. And it's going to come off as more of like you're just trying to get something from them, which is going to be extremely limiting. So I know it's a long answer to that question of the day, but we wanted to make sure we go in deep and give you guys tons of practical advice that you can actually utilize for your journey, because we want to help make your journey better as filmmakers, because that's the ultimate goal, is whether you're a filmmaker or content creator or a videographer, this channel, this platform, everything we have is about making, your journey better. So
absolutely.
I hope that answered that. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Uncensored. We've had a blast. If you missed part of the show, this is definitely an episode I think all creators should go back and rewatch, especially the beginning portion of it, because we did handle how this TikTok thing is going to drastically change us as creators. And I'd love to get your input. So definitely make sure you put those off in the comments. But thank you guys so much for checking out this episode. Be sure to hit that like button on your way out, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.